Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to tier all the marksmans to see what marksman is best to use and buy for this year. Before we start, be reminded that this is based on my opinion only. So if your favorite hero is on the weakest tier, I hope it won't affect you that much. And before we start the video, please comment anything you want, subscribe, turn on the notification bells to never miss any videos that I post, and like the video. Let's begin. First is 1-1. I chose 1-1 because from checking in the recent updates, 1-1 is not that OP anymore. Because she can be countered by many heroes like Ling, Kufra, Yuzhong, and many more. Next is Shin. I placed him in the strong tier because I know from his latest rework he has been buffed and he's the only hero who can use Berserker's Fury and Golden Monkey Staff together. Next is Moskov. I decided to place him in the strong tier instead of viable because he has great mobility but he lacks damage in early game, but he's still a good hero to buy, just stay out of team fights in early game. Next is Layla. I place her on weak tier because even after her rework, she still lacks mobility and without a good tank, you will just get targeted by assassins. Next is Leslie. You're wondering why I place her on needs a rework. I place her there because I've noticed that players pick her rarely and is overshadowed by Irrital and Bruno. For this rework, I would increase the knockback of her second skill and buff the damage of her ultimate skill. Next is carry. I place her in viable because it depends if your carry is good or bad because is a very mobile class. And you need to time her second skill in team fights or you're likely and mostly going to die or lose the team fight. Next is Irrital. I place Irrital in OP because she's the perfect marksman to buy and practice on because she has high and consistent damage early to late game. Next is Kimi. I place Kimi on weak because even with her consistent damage like Irrital, she is very mistreated by ML. Because she has been nerfed twice by decreasing her ultimate's range and decreasing her damage output on her first skill. Next is Hanabi. I placed Hanabi in the strong tier because she is like carry, consistent damage, but even when she lacks mobility, she has burst damage and can connect her first skill to multiple players and damage them all at once. Next is Granger. I placed Granger in viable and not in strong because he's been nerfed like Kimi, but his nerf didn't change anything about his gameplay. But like other marksmen, he's squishy and can be killed easily. Next is Claude. I placed Claude in needs a rework because when Yuzhong and more heroes came out, he was not strong in draft anymore because his damage in his ultimate skill has weak damage in early game to mid game can leave him to his disadvantage. My rework thought is make his ultimate have a higher damage. Next is Bruno. I placed him in OP because like Irrital, he has consistent damage and high mobility. He can 1v1 most heroes in the meta and it's easy for beginners to learn. Next is Clint. I place him in needs a rework because his damage is unacceptable. His ultimate even in late game doesn't make a dent into the enemy's HP bar. Even his passive is weak. My thought for his rework is make his ultimate do a lot more damage but lessen it to only be used by 1 instead of 5 and change his first and second skill. Lastly is Mia. I placed her in viable because after her rework, she has become strong but not that strong. Her abilities became more stronger, different, and many more. That's all for this video. Before you leave, please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment anything about the video.